I'm Leni, and at the beginning of the year, I made my two biggest dreams come true. I adopted a rescue puppy and bought a piece of land, including a derelict cottage, which I want to turn into the homestead of our dreams, with time, sweat, tears, a little bit of crazy, and a lot of hard work. This is our story.
So probably what most of you are asking is, what is happening with this little house? Some of you suggested that I just tear it down and build a new one, but I am allowed to tear this down, but I would not be able to build a new one because this is not in a closed settlement, and the laws in Germany are a bit more restricted outside of closed settlements. So if I wanted to tear it down and build a new one, I would have to prove that I lived in this house for 3 years, and then only then would I be able to replace it. So what am I planning on doing with this? Before I bought this, I did check what I was able to do here and if it's plausible what I am planning. I checked in with the building authorities and wanted to get a pre-building permit, which they did not give me because of reasons that I will come to shortly. I was also here with a carpenter before I bought this, and our idea to rebuild this is pretty much to tear everything down except for the 4 exterior walls, leave them, and kind of build a new house inside this house. So a wooden structure insulated towards the inside, have a wooden structure that will support the whole house or the roof so that the outer walls will not have to be load bearing. This house is not under monumental protection, so it's a lot more relaxed what I'm allowed to do with it. The plan would be to leave the ground floor as an open kitchen and living room, and in the space where this little room is at the back at the moment, I would probably put a bathroom, not in this size, probably a bit smaller. And through this door you have the main entryway, which would still be an entryway. I would also build up, so use the attic as living space, add some stairs and 2 rooms up there, probably 1 bedroom and 1 guest room slash working room slash sewing room. And that would be my little tiny house: a bathroom, a kitchen, a living room, and an entryway downstairs with maybe a pantry and like a supply room where the water heater and whatever goes. And upstairs there would be a bedroom and a little office workspace guest room. When I spoke with the building authorities of if I am allowed to do what I am planning to do in here, they got back to me with quite a surprise and said that everything that I am planning on doing in this house does actually not need a building permit. I am able to restore it, to add a attic living space, also to add dormers, I think you call them, to increase the headspace you have up there, all without a building permit. It does have to be up to code, so I will definitely be working with an architect or a carpenter who can make plans for this so that they can also make sure that everything is up to the regulations and up to standard. It is mainly, or one of the factors is the headspace, or how high the rooms are. We have your strict regulations of how high they have to be, but we measured this house and there is more than enough space to guarantee that that is able to fit in here. I am also planning on using as much natural materials in here as possible, which are able to breathe and also just fit with the time of this little cottage. I do not want like these normal new build houses. I don't really like them. They don't have character in my opinion. This one definitely does, and I absolutely want to keep that character visible and livable. So the previous owners, they did not build up. They did not use the attic as far as I can tell right now, but they built towards the side, like, I don't know, in the 40s, something like that. All of this will be cleaned up. I will firstly leave the walls that are actually still standing and are kind of cute. I will just leave them standing where they are, but clean up all of this mess, and in place of that structure there, I am planning a greenhouse, which actually does also not need a permit.
There's also a little well next to the cottage. I could not see if there was any water in it, but I will definitely check this out. If there is, I want to get the water tested to see if it can be easily made drinkable. It would be amazing to have a private source of water on the property. The property is hooked up to the main water, but it's always nice to have a second source. And if I cannot make it drinkable, at least I can use it to water the plants in the garden.
I am very sorry about the audio quality. A better camera and microphones are on their way. Please bear with me. So in the space behind me where the Battle of the Stomach is sadly still taking place, this is east of the cottage. I am planning on growing a food forest orchard with fruit trees, nut trees, peaches, pears, pawpaw, mulberry, and also add some berry bushes and some other perennials in this section. To the south of the food forest, there is this hole dug out where now there's these brambles growing. There's a lot of wood just thrown in there. I will have to sort that through, but in that place I want to set up a natural pond for amphibians and dragonflies and whoever wants to come and visit my little garden. I will also, in the food forest, want to set up a beehive or two to do some natural beekeeping, and they can also always go to the little pond and get a drink. So we are now south of the cottage where this great beautiful oak is, and behind it there is free space where there's now this fallen over pool, and that is where I plan to set up my vegetable and flower garden. I really want to grow some landraces or breed my own landraces here and be as self-sufficient from this property as I can, which is in fruit trees, nuts, berries, vegetables, and even in firewood if this place will allow it, to have some trees that I can easily coppice and use as wood for my stoves. I will not be using wood as my primary source of heat, but I just think a fire is beautiful. It's so comfortable. It gives off a really nice heat, so I don't want to miss out on that. Along the fence, some of you already suggested it, and I was also planning on doing this. I want to set up some, I think you call them dead hedges, just hedges built out of dead wood where hedgehogs can go into and birds can nest and other animals can just have a little safe space. That will just also be as kind of a visual barrier between me and the field that's next to me and my neighbors on the other side of the field. So this is where I want to make the dead hedge, and the composting system will also go somewhere here. Then we have this little structure south of the barn, so southwest of the cottage, which is small. The outer dimensions are, I think, 5 meters by 3.5, but I would like to rebuild it and make a little room out of it with a bed, a stove, and a tiny kitchen where I can stay in the beginning, and once the house is finished, which can function as a second guest room or an outside office, whatever. I will most likely need a building permit for that, so not to rebuild it, but to use it as a living space. I don't really know what it was originally made for. Most likely a stable or something, because we have this weird floor in there and a lot of rebuilding this will also be a far quicker and more manageable task than rebuilding the house. I can get a lot of experience rebuilding this, which then I can use at the house. I have built stuff before. I have worked with wood, I have worked with power tools, I have also built stuff beyond putting together like a flat pack, but I have never tackled a project like this. I do have friends and family who know building and who I can ask for advice, or who might even be able to come here and help with a thing or two. I will definitely be outsourcing some tasks because I just won't be able to do them, or I am not allowed to do them. In Germany we have some restrictions of what you can do. For example, electricity, like setting up all the whole electric system, a professional needs to do that. I will most likely would be able and might like put the cables everywhere, but a professional has to set up the fuse box. So last but not least, we have the barn with a lot of things in it. Some of you guys said that I should get the sticker running. I don't really see that happening. I think it's probably been here longer than I have been alive, and it is huge. I don't even know how I would get it on the property and move it around the property. When the time comes that I will need a digger for my building site, I will rent a small one probably, and then I could also do some other things like dig out the pond or make it a bit larger. So this will probably just go. Other than that, there are some really cool things in here which I am kind of looking forward to going through and sorting through and seeing what has to just be dumped and what I can actually use. There are also these big boards or whatever planks in here, which I am kind of curious to see if this might be a hidden treasure that could be made into a workbench for the kitchen, or maybe a table. I also have some scaffolding which will definitely be of good use. There are a lot of tools here. A lot of them I have no clue what they are or what they are used for. Some tools have already come in handy while setting up my wheelbarrow. And in here we have 3 rooms that I will show you. This is room number 1. This used to be an old horse stable with like this corridor here and 2 stables. This is also where the power comes in. So yes, it is hooked up to power, and somewhere behind this stuff there is supposed to be a water access. There's the water and a lot of big spiders. So this room will probably be one of the first that I will tackle in this barn and just get sorted. The previous owners even left some chips for me. Oh, there's... Yay, we also have 2 of those. Because it is a nice room where you can store things. I am thinking of, in the future, maybe using this as either a pantry, a big pantry, getting a big freezer in here, some shelves to just put my food or the food that I store from the garden in here. I will definitely have to see how the temperature holds up in winter, if I would have to heat this. Most likely I would. How the moisture is, and if how many animals live in here. Another idea, or an additional idea, would be to turn this into the workshop, because you have a nice space here. I could also always just put in a second wall here to keep a pantry and a workshop separate from each other. But I think this, once it's all cleaned up and the floor, you still see that this once was a stable, this could be a nice working area. And there is a fridge-freezer combination in here. I have looked in it. It's not as scary as one might think. True to the Germans, there's beer, even if it's alcohol-free, and some other drinks. So I have chips and alcohol. What more do I want? So the second room is a lot smaller. It's just this, where these pipes or poles are stored. And room number 3 is where the previous owners stored their garden stuff. This has water damage. Something definitely needs to happen here. But there are also some tools lying around. I don't know if that's a leaf blower and like a hedge saw thing. So I'm back in the cottage to escape the wind. And I know this is structurally not the soundest. I won't spend much time in here. But I just wanted to say that, yes, this is a huge task. I don't have the most experience with building, but as I said, I do have family and friends who do and who will and can support me, if not in manual labor, then in experience and advice. And I can always get some professionals to come and help me. And I can always just learn as I go. I'm actually really looking forward to learning all these new skills, especially tiling for some reason. Don't ask me why, but I'm really excited to tile for the first time. I also don't really have a set time frame for when this is supposed to be finished. In an ideal world, I would be able to finish the tiny little house before winter so that I can heat it nicely and then start this, or really start this project here. Maybe if I move in 5 years, I would be happy. So I don't have a crunching time, set time when I need to be finished. It's also just me that I'm putting through this adventure, so nobody who has to tag along with me doing this, which is also kind of reassuring. So at any point when I say, no, it's too much, I can't do this anymore, then that's life. I know this sounds really cliche, but I'm not afraid of failing this project. I am more afraid of living a life that's just not in line with what I want, and not have the guts to actually start a project like this because I'm afraid, and never reach my dreams because I am just too afraid to get started. So I hope you enjoyed this little tour and are as excited as I am to see the progress. I was a bit overwhelmed with the response and the views that I got on my first video, so thank you for that. And I am really enjoying filming this progress or this project, and hope to, in the future, be able to look back and just see what I have been able to accomplish. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.